Wow, that was really a fast intro. Anyway, welcome again to ICORBP, or International Council of Registered Blockchain Professionals. I'm your host for today, Doc Vince, and we do have several guests. And International Council of Registered Blockchain Professionals is a low-profit L3C organizations that develop to standardize and professionalize the blockchain ecosystem. So this is a continuing technical education of Althash education, which aims to develop relevant skills, applying best practices, maintaining quality and standards, and enhancing vital competencies. So stay tuned, don't go, because we will be talking a lot about blockchain.
This blockchain continuing education program is brought to you by our major sponsors: HTML Coin, Utility Coin Beyond the Hype; Althash University, your online school in the fourth industrial revolution; Libra Codes, take control on your NFT creation; and Credence Hub, verified credentials, anytime, anywhere. We also would like to thank our partners.
Okay, thank you so much again. I'm Doc Vince. I'm with ICORBP, the Business Development Director. And here with me today are our two special guests. Both of them are faculty and professors and subject matter experts, skillful experts on their own department. And the CTO and CPO of Altash Blockchain, and Professor also of Altas Education. So, without further ado, please help me welcome our guest for today, Mr. Carlos Carmona Morales and Johannes Doe. My friends, good morning. Jose, Master, how are you?
Guys, hello. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting.
It's a pleasure. Your microphone, Jose, is muted. Kindly unmute yourself. There you
Yeah,
go.
I do. So, hello to everybody. And a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Vince, for bringing us here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Now, let me do this first. I'll call on Johannes. Kindly introduce yourself and share to us your background and what you do.
Mm, yeah, a pretty short one. I'm working as an IT consultant for more than 30 years now, with let's say experience in small and big projects up to state projects or at the European Union. Um, Lately was elected to be the CTO of Althash Blockchain. So really a pleasure to be here and with a good friend, Jose, and you. So thanks for inviting.
You're more than welcome. Jose, Master, kindly introduce yourself and talk about what have you been doing lately.
Okay, sure. Well, I have been building products for 34 years. Had a handful of startups. Some of them end in bankruptcy. Some of them were beautiful exits. Lately, but I got into blockchain long time ago. Most lately, like last year, I got in contact with ICORBP. So the project hits me because I found it on my research about what the blockchain has for us after so many technology revolutions. What is all of this about? Not only as a producer of products based on the blockchain, but everything that can be behind. So on the last times, my main focus is looking for source of truth, so ways to reflect our knowledge. And ICORBP, I guess, is working on that direction. So at the end is following my own framework of building products. When you find somebody working on the same direction, sharing a part of your roadmap, just work together. It's a lot funnier. You're mute. You're mute.
Ah, that's my signature, Jose. I'm always on mute. Dr. Tammy would always call me for that. Like, hey, you're in mute. Anyway, what I was saying is that most of our guests here are from EU, and uh, EU is, it's all is in the news right now. It's getting big, and not just about what's going on with Ukraine, but also in the use of blockchain. Now, my first question would be for Johannes, how did you start in the blockchain space? What got you into blockchain?
Let's say the tech and some friends talking about digital money approaches I saw in different ways since the mid-90s. And many of them, like Microcent and so on, were promising, but didn't make it over the time. I don't know if it was too early for them. They were lacking probably some details, which is making blockchain more promising, which is the double entangled list of these hashes of blocks, and that it's, let's say, free visible for everybody. So this is or was at that time a new thing to look at. So I had a first glance in the early days of Bitcoin, but it seemed there were no adopters, and I was really busy with other stuff. So it was just a first glance. Unfortunately, didn't buy or whatever gained by clicks several Bitcoins. Missed that chance. But later on, looked in again when Ethereum came up with the smart contracts and the virtual machine itself, which in technical means was even more interesting to have more than just a value being shifted around every 15 minutes. So I would say the fast block time of Ethereum and the let's say, a possibility to code it, to program it, and have within that infrastructure an intrinsic means of machine or a worldwide computer to use, made me really getting into this realm again. And I think it was like in this 2016, 2017 around. And while checking out which virtual machines were out there and so on, which implementation were there, pretty fast led me to HTML coin even.
Right. You mentioned 2016. I think 2016, that was a time when Ethereum was somewhere around $20 and Bitcoin was $300 or $400.
Yeah.
I guess it was $1. Well, anyway, we have here. Let us welcome the CEO of ICORBP, Amando. So may I call in Amando? Hey, Amando, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, guys. I'm grateful to be here.
Okay, so we were talking about first, Johannes, wherein how did he start in the blockchain space, and it really intrigued me when he was talking about smart contracts, Ethereum, then progressed to HTML coin. Now let's go to Carlos. Senor Carlos, how did you start? Again, going back on more detail on blockchain.
So you name him Carlos again. That's beautiful. It's Jose Luis.
Also,
it, it's cool, Vince. Don't worry,
por
Vince.
favor, por favor. It's like my apologies.
No. It's
Jose.
fine. People usually call me quite wrong. Worst things. So don't worry.
My fault. My fault. Okay, go
No,
ahead,
no.
please.
No, getting back to serious. Okay, the how we start on phase. Yeah, it's pretty much the same story that Johannes. I think we share quite a lot of our education on the European system. And when we went in computing, I started physics and switch over computing. All of the basic stuff behind a blockchain is something they teach us. So we were constrained to build from scratch things with that degree of similarity, with a high degree of similarity regarding the complexity of a blockchain. So we were building this kind of stuff, encrypting, decrypting, whatever. So back in 2009, I was having a software company, and we were working with artificial intelligence in order to predict when a contract will be default, of this kind of stuff for banks and some other stuff for carriers. I sold the company and follow a different path. We were trying to build up a system on the, at the time, start of the smart city concept. So we end having a problem is, okay, we can handle the services of a city fully digital. What happens when we have stakeholders that are not a part of this digital world? Even if we digitalize everything, we were quite on the Internet of Things field. We did hardware, radio communications, all kind of stuff. But we end in a point in which a contract, a service supply contract between a stakeholder and a citizen, or the, whatever, should be reflected somewhere. We will prefer those contracts to be in a digital manner, because we know how the contracts in the analog world perform. Because if you compare how you manage the shift in your car with an automatic car, it's the same if you compare what a smart contract does in comparison with something written by the humans, because everything can be interpreted by the humans. So we even talk about politics at the time, because this is obviously quite politic. But what if I vote with my wallet as a stakeholder or as a citizen? Because then you're a stakeholder. So we were working on that, and the concepts about smart contracts were present in a number of programming languages, and the guys behind those programming languages, maybe they are Satoshi. That's a question that is still cycling around. So that's where the digital gold and smart contract stuff start making sense. Bitcoin happens at the same time, but I was looking at my own contracts. Nothing cool. And was focusing especially on the Internet of Things. So drop the field, exit the company, save my life. And a couple of years ago, talking with basically telcos, they were looking into ways to return into what we were talking about back in 2010, maybe. As you were talking about that, you were in a conference with us. We were talking about IoT and the blockchain. And at the time, it wasn't called blockchain. So what did you think now? So they offered me to talk again. We were quite well partners. So we start doing the exploration of how to map into the blockchain the full life cycle of an asset, of a physical thing. Did a lot of exploration with many companies. And so that's when really return into actual technology at the current status, having a very fast learning process, because I have focus. I felt the rabbit hole myself, start drop projects. My reflection is that the rabbit hole is there waiting for everybody. But the rabbit hole is in the basement. So only when you reach the bottom of all you need, and all you know, all you believe, the rabbit hole is waiting for you right there. So you think you're falling through the rabbit hole. No, forget it. Till you don't have a doubt about everything around you, there is no time to really fall through the rabbit hole. And I'm just start falling. I tweet just a few weeks ago that I'm moving into the Metaverse, and that's huge.
That's really huge. No.
That's me and the blockchain.
Before going to the Metaverse, Web 3, NFTs. That's really big right now. Before you were talking about the rabbit hole, but the thing is, you got to take the red pill first before you're gonna go to the rabbit hole. No, and I remember when we tried to introduce blockchain 2019 or 2018 in the Philippines, and we were talking about medical certificates, birth certificates for blockchain, and for them it was really new, and there was not a good. Uh, it really took time for them to really understand or get a good grasp of what it is. And at present, just recently, 2022, I heard the news that the Philippines is now endorsing blockchain, and it should be taught in all government offices. Anyway, going back to Johannes, the I,
Yeah,
what is
one thing. One
sure,
thing.
please go ahead.
You said that you don't have the chance to take the blue pill, so the one that resets you into whatever you know now. Is the thing is they gave you the blue pill with every paycheck.
Mm,
It's not like you don't have the chance. They gave it to you. No need to answer.
right. Because once you still get the paycheck, that's the blue pill.
Mhm.
And
That's
once
it.
you take yourself out of the system of that paycheck to paycheck thing, learn then you might be open to take the red pill and go down the rabbit hole. Any thoughts on that, Johannes?
On rabbit holes, or let's say there are many.
On the blockchain and how it could be really adapted in the current situation right now. Maybe let's rather shift it to what's your area of concentration in the blockchain industry at present.
At present, I'm working out on, which is leaking a bit. I'm working about how to align NFTs right with a standardized certification process, as the thing we at the moment see is not sufficient for, let's say, legal processes.
Hmm. Can you expound more on that? Is it okay?
I would say this is NDA.
Oh, okay.
Let's say already has a glance on it and where
Mhm.
this will go. I'm just sitting in front of some slides to work out some details. So
Right.
I think we'll see this soon, but not now, unfortunately.
And Dosa knows about it. Did I hear you right?
Yes.
Okay.
He has a
And
glance. I'm just preparing the slides, so he only knows the first two.
okay. So you know what? I have a string and follow-up questions with regards to that thing. Anyway, since it's an NDA, maybe we could go to the metaverse. We'll talk about the metaverse, the blockchain. How is the metaverse connected to the blockchain? Any thoughts? Any one of you? Go ahead, Nick. You're smiling. Oh, go ahead, Jose, rather.
Okay.
Nick's not here. There's no Nick. So Jose, sorry about that. I've been having a mental block lately. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Well, there is a number of projects around our community, and I'm working on projects in a community close to ICORBP, and I have others
Mhm.
relating to the metaverse. But that gives me a very nice idea about how we can work all of us on this thing. The NFT is the actual metaverse, because there's only one metaverse. If you don't have the possibility to select which identity you have in a certain context, the metaverse is just a collection of context, and those contexts can be working spaces, can be an interview for a job, or can be a game. There's no problem. Can be anything. Can be anything. So what is your identity? I work in a project with the union about exactly that, the disposable identities regarding the COVID issues. And everything happens in a very short period of time. Our kids has been in a box with a console, starting to build their identities into a virtual world. Okay, that now thanks to all of the lack and all of the gods and everything you can believe, we are getting back to normal, and they can interact more with humans. But that is pretty clear what happens with video games till now, and what happens with the kind of mechanisms we are using to interact between us. We haven't seen each other in flesh ever. So our identity is going to be more and more on the digital world, is going to be more and more immersive. And what happens with your identity? We know what happens with our clicks into what we can see around this screen right now. Everything we see around is derived from our clicks. And those were just clicks and views. What happens when you are moving around your identity, your actual one, how you look, how much you pay to look like that? Who pays you? Who's going to pay you for a smart contract you are running somewhere because you will be contracted by the hour to solve something? And that's where we are hitting. It's pretty much obvious. We have a complete generation of guys and girls that have watched their first live concert in Fortnite, like my son. So
did you go there on the concert on Fortnite?
Yeah.
And even
I was there.
You were there. Justin Bieber also had.
Actually, I was watching my son being on the concert.
Okay. Now, how does one of the question is, okay, some people think that the metaverse is just something like a game, but it doesn't really solve any problem in the society or in the world.
Did you think that TV solve any problem?
It probably caused more problems with fake news coming out.
and social media.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So at least I will be the owner of my content. And if there is some monetization to happen, it will be mine.
Right.
At least that regarding Web3.
And that's where Web3 is heading, or what Web3 is.
Yeah, everything is about storytelling. The amount of technology to have to get immersive experiences is still quite limited. We don't even have the hardware. It happens in the past many times that you got the concept and you build a low definition, a slow minimum product, because in 2 years all of the hardware will be there where you need it to be fast. But you should start having users now, and the users now want to do something. And what to do? They buy a picture. They want to be on the game, and they don't know what the game is about, but everybody's getting in. It's like it resonates quite a lot with the way I approach building up products. I like to just work on the storytelling and get the specialist aligned with the end of the history. And that's what's happening with the metaverse. That's why I feel at home, because everything is storytelling, and everything is storytelling or truth. A piece of data that you can't modify and is somewhere, and your identity is how you compose both. So you can use your avatar, one avatar for one thing, another for a different thing, a wallet with an identity, and another wallet with another identity. You may select how you show up in a work interview. That is something we are working on Credence Hub for this full disclosure. So we are working in a way in which you can certify skills, knowledge, learnings, experiences that are relevant for somebody in a piece of code that can't be deleted or modified, or it's an NFT, and
or manipulated.
Yeah, we know pretty much a lot about NFTs around, so we say, okay, why not? And now we're saying, okay, now your identity is in a wallet. What will happen after? And we have people building other experiences in the metaverse that are very interested in okay, so you will provide a part of an identity. It's completely different than tracking yourself in using web techniques. You decide what you expose, who you are when you talk with somebody else. It's up to you. Identity is becoming quite critical at the societal level. Even many who rules in a country is decide to how much attention they pay to this. So it seems to be relevant for the people that vote. So we seem pretty much aligned with what people seems to like and seems to need on their lives. So we are supplying something to make their life easier, because it seems like we are walking in the way they want to go. They want to have a strong identity in a time in which you define your identity just by consuming. And I don't know if as human beings we can sustain defining the identities of those around us, depending on the amount of money they have to buy things that will get destroyed.
No,
So,
Johannes, you want to add more on that?
You guys then. Thank you.
I just saw I missed a call. Sorry. Can you rephrase it, please? I was missing in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, there was a lot of things being mentioned by.
I'm an NFT. There is no 2 seconds that are the same. I can repeat.
Yep.
We both moved a call.
Metaverse,
Yeah,
NFT,
I followed.
so we were there.
Yeah, in general, NFTs will be an emerging sector, bigger than the actually well-known, let's say, money thing or value thing blockchain is known about. I see this NFT and credentiality and identity thing as even by far bigger sector on the use of this tool, let's say blockchain, with this doubled entangled list, hard to tamper with.
One thing that happened to me last December was I got hacked. So my whole identity was taken out, identity theft. He took my social security number, opened a bank account, and all of those stuff. Can the blockchain do, help or do something about this? I think you already did mention. What will be the role of blockchain for this kind of identity? I know you mentioned that, but maybe you could expound more. Jose?
Well, long time ago, somebody told me that the only reasons why we have locks in the doors is because we like to have a key. That's to start. When I used to be the CTO, then I love more product, and Johannes to the CTO, and there is no need to explain how good he is with this technology. And we have really nice conversations about this. Basically, you can't find anything to block social engineering, and that's the highest risk of anything. All you can do is place additional layers just to avoid people not going through the social engineering, or people just hitting with a hammer to open a door, and so on and so on. But we will always have issues. The beauty of the blockchain is that you can revert things. The thing is that reversion will be decided by the community. will have everybody involved. What will happen with your money will be clear, and so on and so on. We have big examples in the past. Ethereum, we are speaking about a very relevant stake into the economy. Whoever economy we are talking about is money. It's quite pretty much a decent manifestation of how people is capable of placing their effort, their time into having a number. And that very much number was compromised.
Mm.
And they solved it. So and that was something like 2017, is 5 years ago. Now you have more control on the APIs. Now you have better understanding of how this happen. Now you have jurisdictions in which the blockchain is respected as a contract. Now you have legal blockchains in which you can insert your agreements with the same you have now with Social Security or a bank that were compromised by somebody thieving your identity. Those same can be behind a legal layer in which you can, with your wallet, lock or unlock your identity and activate or not integration of a smart contracts. That's something that is being done. It's not a dream. The technology is there.
Mm.
It's a matter of how much it will take people to understand and how good we are at telling this. And it's going to take time. It's going to
Yes.
take time.
You did mention about how much time to take wherein people will understand about blockchain in and that's where the question would come out, like the adoption of blockchain. How do you see blockchain at present to be adopted in what, how many years, 3 to 5 years from now? Where do you see the mass adoption would be in a couple of years? uh okay, Johannes, you want to share?
Mm, I mean, in means of adoptions, and the question entangled you mentioned is understanding what's under the hood. And it's say this is a twofold thing, as most people don't understand how their cars works, or their TV sets, or even their computers. Um, it's about the ease of use, a technical system, and understanding the front end parts of it, with a certain part of, let's say, security, environmental stuff, to know, okay, I shouldn't click spam or scam or something like that. In blockchain's meet at the moment, we haven't passed the stage of where most users don't click spams or scams, unfortunately, because this is still such a big threat. And that only works because there are too many newbies rushing in. And I think this will stay for a while, as the actual community around cryptocurrency is pretty geekish, and just a few normal guys are into that space and gained over time a certain knowledge about. So I see within the next 5 years a big advance of this. In means of adoption, I think most peoples will, over this, let's say, 5 years time frame, being more entangled with the second layer solutions than the blockchain itself. As you see, many of them may go into let's say Bitcoin or Ethereum value trading via card or their banks, or maybe even other or newer interfaces for exchanges. But this is what I see in 5 years is just a small part. as mentioned before, I see this documentation and credibility stuff is will be a bigger part than there. It will make specific use of blockchain mechanisms, but I think the front ends will play the game there, and the sound implementation of those. It means we will see blockchain implementations under the hood of many new things, starting with games now, as you know, because gamers are usually very fast in adopting new technologies and are willing to pay lots of money just for graphic cards and stuff. So this is a special community. For the broader mass, let's say, hope this don't sound like weird, but let's say the normal people rushing in, it will be on the value side, the visa and banking systems, and of new services to come, which will exceed the gaming sector. We will see this in normal software means, even in cloud access means of big entities and stuff.
No, thank you. You want to add more, Jose?
Well, the thing is, it's happening. It's happening. We see like most of the big corporations are in. All of the banking systems are in. It's going to be gradual, but it's happening. It's nothing like we would like this. It takes time. Building software is expensive.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
The governments are in, SECs are in, making those regulations, executive order. We still have 5-10 minutes more. I have this follow-up question. What, for the sake of our audience, and I'm just trying to make it simple for them, top 3 world problems that you think blockchain would be able to solve? Your top 3. So let me start with Johannes, then I'll call you Jose.
Top 3. I would take the visibility of credential chains, the visibility of change of decisions, the visibility of transfers of values would be my top 3, because this is socially seen absolutely brand new, really needed, and we will see really interesting things happen in society and means of governments, and further even big business things as decisions, the transfer of value for what to whom can and will be public visible, and this will change the society and means we actually face, because at the moment still most things are completely invisible, and that will change a lot.
Your top 3, Jose?
Well, I think that the cryptos are maturing. So yeah, pretty much already they can be used to pay, to store value, and to keep accounts. And then we have the NFTs. There is another kind of value on top. Obviously, before that, the smart contracts. Now we have the DAOs, and I'm quite surprised with what is happening, because if we place all together and the evolution of the tools we are having and the complexity of the intellectual models we are mapping on the blockchain,
Mm.
I don't see how this can stop.
You did mention about Credence Hub. Are we allowed to talk about Credence Hub?
But yeah, Cadence Hub is well, we talk a bit. That's soon to be released.
Hmm.
Uh,
So,
we are
yeah, short overview about Credence Hub and what problems that it solves.
exactly. If you said about the problems we are solving, let's say, I think in general our domain solves identity, solves the issues you may have regarding free to trade. You know, be able to trade with anyone, and a source of truth and certainty. Maybe what was right in there was wrong, but what was right in there at this
Hmm.
time, this guy. So those three are very basic things on top of which we build up everything else in our lives. So those three things are the things that limit you more in life. So in Credence Hub, we are trying to address basically identity, what skills you have,
Mm.
what you have learned, who has worked with you and says you got the skill, which entities are training their employees, students, whatever, and giving them the knowledge, how much knowledge they are holding, and how that network of knowledge is behaving, interacting. It's about making the life of a professional easier, but can be used to many other things. One of the stakeholders approach us to certify the capacity of someone to build to work with food. So they have the usual certificates in paper.
Hmm.
There's no way to check it in many countries. So why we don't move this into an NFT? It's something unique. It's something that lasts. There is an owner. There is a user. It's pretty much a basic NFT contract with the appropriate certificates and appropriate identities. Okay, we will not show the identity to anybody that doesn't have the authority to look into it. So you don't show up anything.
It's
There
not
is no,
open for the public.
exactly, there is no picture of yourself there. There is nothing about race, about religion, about anything that you
Yeah.
can prove I can do that. The same with a nano degree in tokenomics, which is another use case we are working in. Or, okay, I support you as a front end developer for this project, and or you are working with me for more than 1 year. There's many things to be certified. And that builds on the line of previous work in Althash about the birth certificates and so on. So it's a
Right, right, right.
technology
Mhm.
we have quite a lot of experience. It's just adapting to the stakeholders and the new metaverse needs.
Yeah, I'm praying that this Credence Hub would come out soon because this would really help a lot. So a lot of problems.
Looking for it.
So I'm crossing my fingers. Now, we talk. I mean, I know we've been talking about this blockchain thing, and there are people who are interested about getting to learn more about blockchain, and there are already blockchain professionals like you, and who wants to be certified or what. So, any advice that you want to give those who wants to be a blockchain professional? Maybe we could start with you, Johannes. You got go ahead, please.
Let's say my major first intention in these means was to give especially free courses to build within the community a bit more deeper knowledge about all these keywords. Because I found out over the time just very few really understood what they were talking about. And I think it's vital to have at least some skills and some very basic environment, not to understand, like, for example, a hash function, but maybe what it does. For if you own a car, it makes sense that you know that eventually you have to push some oil in and push some water in, and you know where, don't mix it, and where to put the fuel in, and what this makes sense, and what the fuel or the oil has to do with the kilometers you drive or the miles you drive. Something like that. This was my first and major intention on that, and preparing lessons about that.
Mhm. And you, Jose, your advice for people who wants to be a blockchain professional?
Uh, okay, if you have no knowledge at all, well, at that hash to give very really nice education about this, and I will say them to take a look to different courses, because they have some generic courses and some are very specific about the things that you may use, not only to get certified and to brag around like, oh, I'm a certified blockchain, whatever. Is because there is so many things to be built. There is so many things to be poured into Web3. There is so small things that just by hitting the blockchain brings value, that it pays. It makes me return to programming after 25 years not touching a keyboard. So I built a script in Python to create my first NFT collection. So just by attending the, not even attending, looking into the courses of Johannes and some other courses. So I was supposed to teach at the same place about the connection of Internet of Things and the blockchain. But that has become too big because I teach about some other things in other universities, and it's becoming a book eventually. So I will look into Althash, and then there is very interesting communities on, for example, in our blockchain, the community will help you learn. We'll give you advice about which courses to take, and if you just, it's like when somebody asks you to buy crypto, do your own research. I can point you to a couple of resources, and there is plenty of people very interested in there that they will open paths through the rabbit hole. So keep fetching.
Mhm. How important is a formal training certification?
That's very important, and that's what. By the way, that's something why we are building up Credence Hub, because if you look around, 40% of the people that show up that doesn't show up to a work interview. 40% doesn't simply show up. So imagine how is the mindset of the HR people. They have set up a meeting with you and you
And
don't show
nobody
up.
shows up.
So that's the health of the relationship between the HR and people, even inside the HR. And yeah, and then maybe they're just on the first layer, because they have many hours to be burned, because 40% of the hours they will have nothing to do. So maybe they are not very much specialized. So maybe your knowledge, your experience will not be clear in a curriculum. And maybe that day you are not especially good at selling yourself. So you at least have something that self-stands.
Right.
And you can show that you have spent the time to complete a task. In times where if you don't have the experience, you can't work. You should work to have the experience and so on. To having your first job is very important. If you're not, if you build up something, so you have the technical skills, there's organizations like ICORBP and many others in which you can show up your knowledge, and it's not like the formal training of all times. Those are things that you find nowhere to learn. So if you know a part, try to get yourself certified, try to have somebody endorsing you, somebody certifying your skills, and let's build on top. What other knowledge I will need to get deeper into this market? And we are not talking only about blockchain in general, because we are not talking in our particular case with the product we are Credence Hub. We are not just thinking about the blockchain professionals. that obviously will be the first to know because we are on this ecosystem, but it's valid for everybody because we apply more and more for jobs that are remote. We work more and more with colleagues that maybe doesn't remember you 6 months later because they never met you.
That's true.
So let's make your image, your professional staff, self-standing, based in the stronger source of truth you may have to prove your abilities, to pass the filter. Jobs are getting close, smaller and smaller periods of time. People, that's where the world is heading. So let's get prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Show your best. There is not a second chance to make a first impression. So you know something, get a beautiful certificate. Show it to somebody and make them rubber stamp that you're right. It's free many times, or it's peanuts if you compare with the impact. I'm ashamed of not having not passed the certification for some of the skills I have learned. I would love to have somebody to make me a test and say, okay, you're okay, because it will even help me to understand if I'm actually a person that understands about this domain of knowledge or not.
It strengthens your credibility as a person with the skills that you are trying to put out there. Now we have a few minutes more.
One small thing, and happiness is especially true when what you say you are and what you are actually and what you actually are and are capable of doing. If they're not the same thing, you're not going to be happy. It's that simple. You should cross that and get your knowledge certified somewhere, pass the exam, make whatever, and don't have this idea just in your brain.
There's a disconnect.
It's a disconnect, especially at these times.
Fully
Go ahead, Johannes. You're about to say something.
I just said fully agree. Maybe just a detail about what you mentioned as an example, like the trading. The fun fact is there was a big university, I say Lincoln, I forgot the name, who was it basically, trained AIs and computer traders, how the best approaches are to gain the biggest gains on exchanges. And they finally found out that just holding Bitcoin over time seems to be the best strategy at the moment. So we're not likely want to just people just by whatever intention just bought Bitcoin and holded them to be called the best traders. So this is a massive difference of what to state of a situation like gaining something by trading, which seems to be the optimum is not trading. Certifying someone for being a good trader. So there's this big difference of reality which can be seen by a user or customer against the real doing of it, because a good trader makes good tradings out over the time and within, let's say, each minute or at least each hour, and it takes much more than just holding something, especially on this emerging market getting bigger and bigger for the next 5 years, let's say. It's really of more importance to have some kind of certification for that, telling, okay, this guy knows more than just, okay, hold Bitcoin.
Last question, and then I'll ask you for your final thoughts, final message. The importance of, we were talking about training certification, but let's go to ICORBP, wherein the importance of blockchain education as it relates to the goals of ICORBP, or International Council of Registered Blockchain Professionals. Its objective of trying to professionalize the blockchain space. Your thoughts on that? Let's start with Jose.
Well, that that goal is what made me get closer to ICORBP and then the rest of the family. I find it very very appealing to. There is so much scam around.
Mm.
There is so much noise. I'm a person that is quite in love with ideas. Well, you know me, guys, and especially words, and that's how I make a life, basically. And yeah, we have an institution that reflect in a dictionary what things means, and if you then look, it's a big description, and maybe there is 20 or 30 ways to describe the meaning of a word. But at the end, we agree somehow. And then you will have groups of people that doesn't agree on the meaning of that word, or in a certain context, which is minimal, that word means something different. And I have seen so many people using bad the words that you end talking with them. And then you end talking with another. And this is a work that doesn't scale, because I don't have time to teach all of them. We even prepare a meeting once a month for crypto, and we just have people that came to understand. And so we say, okay, why not we do something bigger? Why? And I found ICORBP and said, okay, I will try to get my network interest here. And there is other initiatives, but I'm 100% sure that someday we will end having a kind of a club in which we talk with about some keywords, as Johannes mentioned previously, and we all are talking about the same. Because some concepts doesn't belong to blockchain. Some concepts are human behavior. It's like there is a big issue about the cryptos and the Russian stuff going on right now. And yeah, it's true. It's not a Russian stuff. It's something a lot more complex. So but why should this be aligned with the meaning of crypto? Crypto in this context is free trade. It makes you free to send money to one guy. It sets you free to sell guns to the other guy, because it doesn't have an ethic. The ethic behind the blockchain is free trade. There's no way to stop anybody to do anything as far as he respects the free trade. That's beautiful. It's a language. So let's define the language. Let's agree on the language with the group of people, because we were not owning the truth when we start speaking about that. It takes time to define what everything means, especially on ICORBP, which is a organization with people for all around the world. Just defining the very best use of the words takes time. But if we manage to help to build up the semantics, that's beautiful. It's something we are giving away. So it's like a basic language course, but applied to a chunk of knowledge which is a lot bigger, but with quite a lot of, just a handful of words. But then there is a lot of meaning behind. Okay, and I see that the guys on ICORBP, all of their respect, I should look into in the academia. Is there really? People doing business is there already. So we talk about the same, and conversations get very, very fruitful. Because as far as you establish the meaning of the words become very interesting.
Right. We've talked a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff, and I want to sink that in. I'm going to do a replay of this. And thank you so much for your time here. We really appreciate it. I'm going to ask Johannes final thoughts. Then we'll go to Jose, and I'm going to call Amando later on to close us down. So, Johannes, final thoughts for our viewers.
Final thoughts. Let's say this. This way. Always, since the existence of mankind, it was about the community, like family, or the community in general. to survive, and the environment, and being nice to the environment, and be cooperative. So I think it's really cool to find and establish good environment and good communities, and the sound procedure to deal with the environment.
Thank you so much, Jose. Your turn. Final message.
He stole my notes.
you,
Was
you know what? You know what? Like, I was thinking, yeah, we're really technical here, but you guys are so
Yeah.
profound. You're so profound. So go ahead.
No, it's about the history of the ideas. You have everything to understand out there. Yeah, in the hand, in your hand, you have 5, 6, 7 inches of glass, and you have all of the human knowledge behind. Now you need tools to classify that, know what is true or who told that and when, and so on and so on and so on. And you can interact with things that are behind. And I want to select how I interact with whatever that is behind. And I guess that through the blockchain, the interaction can be pretty clear. So it's free trade. So I will at least know that my data is being sold, and I will see the smart contract in which such is reflect, and I will select which is wallet or identity or face recognition or whatever we use to get into that. So we are going to be there, and I prefer the community to take over the building, which is the case of the crypto universe mostly. It's a community. It's a community of communities of communities. And I prefer us to take care of this as a matter of freedom. So if everything goes well, in 5 years, we will be a bit more free. And in 10 years, maybe even a bit more. Maybe in 15, we don't have electricity any longer, but till there, we can try to make this full of freedom. And that's it. It sounds quite political, I know, but that's my line.
Well, that's it. Those are your thoughts. And anyway, I have Amanda here. I'm gonna bring him in to close down and let him share his thoughts. He said he's gonna stay in the back, but I have to pull him out. So, Amando, please close us.
Hi guys. Good morning. Good morning to the world. Good morning to our wonderful subject matter expert. These are the kind of people we really want to be inviting in the International Council of Registered Blockchain Professional, blockchain talk show, because we're learning a lot from them. As you can see, blockchain is evolving. We used to see blockchain as a technology, and then it evolves into another form as a financial tool, a form of investment, and then blockchain as a platform, a software development. And now we are seeing blockchain evolve into an ideology. So you see blockchain used not just a purpose of financial technology, but the idea of freedom is used now in blockchain. And blockchain started as a social movement, during 28 20 2009, when we have this um, banking and recession in the United States. And you see ideology and technology go together hand in hand. Again, I will go back to my to what I believe in, that technology is a neutral thing. You can use it whatever you want to advance your philosophy, ideology, or technical know-how. So I'm looking forward to have more subject matter expert like this. And by the way, These people are working in the Althash space. Some of them also doing some consultancy on the other side and having the consultancy to impact the world. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to hearing. This is not the first time, but this is not the last time, but this is just the first time for the mini series that we will be inviting Jose Carmona, the product executive officer of Althash Blockchain, and we have Johannes Dow, our chief technology officer in the HTML coin. So there are many people that we will be inviting, listening right now. You guys stay tuned because we will be bringing subject matter expert with a caliber. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amando. Before we go, I just would like to share this. This morning, we were talking about politics. And here in America, they said that you have Democrat, you have Republican. But one of the traders told me there's a new political party. And I said, what's the new political party? It's the blockchain cryptocurrency party. And if the politicians do not agree with that party, see you next time. Anyway, what we have here is the CEO of ICORBP, Armando Boncales, and Professor Jose Carmona Morales, and Professor Johannes Dow. Thank you so much, and stay safe, be safe. God bless you all. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. All. Take
Nice
care.
day. Nice weekend.
Next weekend.
Schönes Wochenende.
This blockchain continuing education program is brought to you by our major sponsors: HTML Coin, Utility Coin Beyond the Hype; Althash University, your online school in the fourth industrial revolution; Libra Codes, take control on your NFT creation; and Credence Hub, verified credentials, anytime, anywhere. We also would like to thank our partners: